mom,
life,
balance, and we bring you the MLB podcast,
the playbook for women struggling to make balance a priority in their lives.
Welcome back to another episode of the MLB podcast. My name is Brittani.
And I'm Coya.
And cheers to our consistency.
Period.
We are here with a great episode, which I would love to shout out Natalie for a topic because we were on the struggle bus.
No, she came through.
In the clutch. So thank you for everyone's suggestions that tuned in to our kind of random live.
Our 5-minute live.
Yeah, that I struggled to start, but I made it through.
But she came through with the topic fast, so I appreciate it because we went in and out. I was like, all right, that's good. Moving right along.
Yeah. So thank you again, Natalie. We appreciate you, girl. And yeah, we can get right into it because it's a pretty hefty topic. I mean, we really had to reflect on this one. I know I did. Did you reflect?
I reflected, but yeah, I did. I did reflect. I mean, that's how I got my topics. But I don't think I had to go into like a deep mode of.
Really?
No, I mean, I think in my mind, because I knew we said we wanted to keep it lighthearted, I tried not to go too deep.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was like, okay, this is supposed to be a lighthearted episode, but I think somehow it ended up being deep.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I definitely kind of went into Mary J. Blige, my life, deep. Like,
right. You was the main one that was like, we're going to need another fun episode. And
well, it's still fun. Okay, so deep can be fun. It's fun, y'all. But I'm just saying, I really like went into like, man, I just feel like I've been through a lot in my life and I've suppressed it and it's kind of like made me rethink a lot of things. So with that being said, the episode is, just things that we've taken for granted in the past that now we are thankful for. And that's right on time because 'tis the season to be grateful, thankful, reflect. I think more people get into this mode too towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So that whatever adjustments you want to make next year, you can do that. Also, during this time, some people get sad, around like holiday time. And I think the best way to combat that as well is to, reflect on like things that have been great. So you have to like reshift your mind on what's pretty much brought you forward. So although we've done it, I think it'd be healthy for you all to take time to do the same thing. Put you in a, great lighthearted mood.
It definitely shifts your energy. Like if you just write down, I think in my last week, I should have went back and looked at my notes. But last week, a part of my time with God was to write a list of gratitude, like just things that He's brought me through in the years. I should have went through that, but yeah, and it immediately shifts your energy because it makes you feel like, dang, I was going through this, but I came through this, or whatever it may be. I don't want to get too deep, but I do think I agree. This is a good time because usually I spend the rest of the year just kind of around this time, like this time through December, where a lot of people are like planning for next year and like goals. I spend this time reflecting, usually just kind of like thinking about the year and like what's going on and just all the things. So I agree. This would be a great time for you all to do the same. Nice little exercise to do. You can wait until after Thanksgiving though, because I do think that this week you should just chill and just have no expectations and just enjoy family time.
Be present.
And be present in the moment.
Be very present.
And after you listen to this podcast. But you can listen to this podcast while you're cooking and then turn on some music and just vibe out.
Use your time off wisely. I hope y'all are off for the whole week. I know I am.
I am not off for the whole week. I'm actually working. I mean, my corporate job, I'm working, but nobody's there. But I'm just kind of like the person that's around because I like to take off while I like to work while everybody's off, and I like to take off while everybody's there. So I took off like the next week, and then with my clients, it's still crazy because Black Friday is Friday, and so everybody's like, trying to make sure everything's together. So the next few days will be hell for me. But after that, hopefully I'll be off. I'll be off. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, well, I'm off the whole week, and I definitely did my retail day, so I'm every bit of appreciative of not having to work for the whole week. But cool, I'll kick us off. So the first thing I thought of that I may have taken for granted young is I grew up in a very spiritual family. So there was a lot of structure and discipline. And I think that growing up, it was challenging because there was a lot of like no's, or, I couldn't do this, and then the reasoning behind it. Or like one thing that I always thought was interesting is if anytime like something happened, if I was going through something, my aunts would always share a scripture. And I think when you're young, you're like, what? Like,
this ain't what I'm looking for right now.
This is not what I'm trying to hear.
Mad with me.
And it's crazy because till this day, like I can remember some of these same scriptures that have really like pulled me out sometimes where I'm like, man, that hit. And of course it hits different, now that I'm older and my relationship has grown with God as well. But I definitely feel like when I was younger, I took it for granted. I want to say honestly, up and through, I think I heard scriptures and no, that's not what God likes, and this type of stuff. I think from the time I came, I could probably listen up until college. Even calling my mom, during some, challenging times, and like I say, she immediately her, the go-to was, some type of spiritual advice, a scripture, and things like that. And I think when you're in it, you just want the problem to go away.
Right.
Most of the
Especially
time.
when you're young.
When you're young, you just want the problem to go away, or you're just all caught up in your emotions. But as you get older, you learn how to like maneuver through those problems differently and reshift your mind and appreciate it. So that was the first thing that stuck out to me. And I'm grateful, especially meeting people now who didn't have a spiritual background and not getting that type of comfort. And it's the best comfort that I can say you can get through any type of trial and tribulation.
That's so funny. That just made me think about, it's like a meme or something that's going around that says, I'm so happy my mom was strict or something, because now looking at some of y'all who clearly parents weren't strict is like,
off the chain.
Off the chain. Yeah, that reminds me of that. Okay, well, I'll go next. Random. But something that I took for granted before that I don't take for granted now is cooking and cleaning. And it's so random, but I think because maybe 2 years ago, year and a half, I don't know, I kind of had to do like a mindset shift. And because I think cooking, cleaning, to me, it's just always felt like a chore. Like, even when I was young, like, it just always felt like this is just something I have to do. It's a chore. Like, I don't want to do it. I hate it. Like, I've just always had, right, exactly, something I was told to do, and now it just kind of goes over into your adult life, and it's like, oh, it's something you have to do. But a year and a half ago, I when I did my whole little shutdown thing, I feel like God told me that in order to really show appreciation for what you have, that's really what cleaning is. Like, making sure the home is kept. And then in the same way, cooking always felt like a chore and just something to do. But now I just feel so grateful to be able to provide, to be able to cook, to be able to be the one that's kind of in control of what my family's taking in on a day-to-day basis. Now it more so feels like an honor and not a chore. So it really came with like a mindset shift over time. But yeah, I'm thankful. I'm actually thankful for that mindset shift, because now I don't have that negative energy towards cooking and cleaning. Like, there's literally an appreciation that I feel when I'm cooking. I mean, obviously sometimes I'm overwhelmed and whatever, but I do enjoy cooking for the family, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I'm like, yes, like, I get to choose. Like, they're not out here just eating God knows what, right? Like, I get to be the one in control of that. And then when I'm cleaning, it's just like, I love my house. I pray for this house. Like, this is what, so it feels good.
That's a good one there. I pray for this house.
Yeah.
I like the routine of it, that cooking and cleaning does, just because it needs to happen. Just in general, like, a clean house gives you like a fresh mind. And then to me, cooking is just better for you,
Yes.
Like, remember we were just talking about how like our kids aren't really growing up with like acne issues, and I think one of them goes to like
that's true.
Cooking, like it's just healthier
Mm-hmm.
in general, and your kids will learn, believe it or not, that same thing. So now it's a kind of like a generation thing that just keeps going, especially in a world where, I mean, we got Instacart, we got Uber Eats,
so
and
quick.
DoorDash.
Everything is so quick.
So it's like you keeping that going now, like your kids are gonna cook.
And they see the difference. They're like, I don't want to eat out. Like if it's a
Exactly.
crazy week and I'm like, oh my God, let's just grab something. They be like, can we not? I'm like, all right, bet.
Yeah. Versus remember growing up, like I feel like
We
everybody
go to
took
McDonald's.
cooking for granted. Cause like, oh man, we want McDonald's.
We got food at home.
We got food at home. Now it's completely. It was like, no, y'all making it fun.
Yeah,
good now. But yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So another one I thought of. This is something I realized I was getting automatically, I guess, and then again I grew up and I was like, man, you didn't get that. Like when I've talked to like some people, like some friends and stuff, it's just I also grew up in a very affectionate household. So I got I love yous, I got hugs, I got kisses. Like till this day my mother still kisses me. Anytime I call her and I need to talk, even if it's just, hey, what you doing? I'm gonna get a I love you after the end of the call. And I do the same thing with my kids now, and we need to hear it. And it's funny because to go to memes, now I see these memes where they're like, let's normalize telling your friends I love you. And I've always done that, not thinking anything of it. And I have some friends that don't say it back.
Really?
Man, what?
You'll say it and then won't say it back? Oh, God.
Yeah. I ain't gonna call out this
Don't
one
please
friend.
don't
I
call
say
them
it
out.
all the time. But I'm also one of those people where
If
I say
you
it,
don't take it personal.
yeah, and somebody doesn't say it back, yeah, it's okay because it's just normal. It was just normal in my household. Like we say, I love you, even if you don't see this aunt all the time, she's still gonna tell you she love you, and you probably ain't seen her in years. But it was just the way I was raised, and we hug each other and stuff like that. I've dated guys where they didn't get it, and I was like, what? You know, you didn't get our love yous, and even thank you, and just nice gestures. But I met so many people, like I say, close to me that didn't get it, and I was like, and I remember like even when my mom used to like kiss all on me and stuff, and I'm like, yo, like, why are you doing the most sometimes?
Yeah.
And now
You the same way. Are you?
to my kids, yes, like teenager phase is a little awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
It is awkward.
Like every now and then I'll kiss Kenzie in public, and she's like, "Ma," like, but Rylan still enjoys it. Like Rylan gives me a kiss. We kiss each other every night before bed, before with a good night. I don't tuck her in no more. We finally got to the non-tuck in stage, but yeah, she gonna come in there. Good night, mommy. Kiss.
That's how Deuce is. Yeah, to your point. The
And I love
stage,
it.
Riley is more. Well, Riley's a lot like me. Like we kind of weird on affection. Like we not with all the kissing and stuff. Like I mean, we do it here and there, but it's not like a day-to-day thing. But we definitely hug multiple times a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I come from an affectionate family too, so I definitely
Blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings on blessings. My mom definitely has always been very vocal, telling us she loves us, hugging us, kissing. To this day, we still kiss. And then I remember somebody told me, I think in college, it was like, you still kiss your mom? I'm like, that is so weird. I'm like, or maybe you're weird. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I guess if it's not normal, then the other person immediately is like, yo, that's weird.
That's weird as hell. But yeah, and my husband comes from a affectionate family.
Oh, that's
too,
good, because I don't hear it a lot
but
with boys.
He's not. I think me and him are very similar. Like we kind of awkward. Like we just don't like a lot of touchy feelyness. Like it's just, I don't know if it's a Capricorn Scorpio thing. I don't know what it is, but we just don't like. Just not too much. Like not too much. But I remember when I first met his family, and they all immediately they embrace you and hug you, and I thought that was so strange at first. Because even though I'm from an affectionate family, I've never met like another family that just brings people in and just hugs them, and it's real. I don't even know how to explain it. And you can just tell that God flows through their family on immediate, as soon as you meet them. And I remember thinking when I first met them, like, this is a little weird. But now I absolutely love it. Like everybody embraces you. As soon as they see you, they're hugging you. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I've grown to like that part of it because I used to be kind of like,
yeah, I love it. I'm a lover of love. So I'm like, despite what goes on, I think a lot of people place love is like if things are great. I just like it to flow no matter what. I actually think when things are bad, people need more love, but it's hard for people to do that. And so that's what I also appreciate with my mother. Like my mom will cuss you out and then hug you afterwards, and I used to be like, wait, you just cussed me out. But now that I'm older, I'm like, because the love don't stop,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's just pick up and keep it pushing. Like, right. And she used to also say that, you know, if I leave tomorrow, that's not how I want you to, you know, remember, like, whatever it is we got it into. So we need to be able to, like, maneuver through or move past this, you know, whatever happened, you know, if I was in trouble or if she was mad or whatever. We don't want to keep that lasting thought. And I'm grateful for that as well, because I feel the same way. Like, to this day, I don't really have any ill will with anyone. We may not operate in the same way that we used to, depending on what happened, but yeah, it's not holding in my heart like that. So
yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I feel like, so mine are all kind of random. Like two, but
I was ready to hear what you was gonna say for this one. I kind of feel like I should have.
Oh, I was going to switch it up. But now, since you said that, I'm not switch it up. I was going to keep on, but I was going to mix up the flow because I'm like, maybe I should go a little deep. But since we're here.
Sorry.
One thing that I took for granted was the city of Atlanta. And it's very random again, but I don't have on my Atlanta shirt that I got.
I was going to say, can I...
Yeah, not her Falcons cup.
Because I love being from Atlanta.
I didn't necessarily love being from Atlanta until I moved away from Atlanta and moved to LA, into a city where it was just so different. Like the black people were non-existent for me in the area that I lived. Of course, they were south, like Inglewood and those areas, but I rarely visited those areas. And just like the culture. And I remember when I used to come back, the food, when I used to come back, I always had a list of places I wanted to eat. I'll never forget when I was, I don't know if I used to come back for the summer. So I think I was here for the summer and I was meeting our insurance broker. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
And she invited me to this, it was like a lounge for.
It's like a club.
A club for, entrepreneurs. I don't know, but you basically pay a membership. I can't think of the name of it right now, but you pay a membership and you can have host meetings. It was like a really nice restaurant in there, and I remember going in there and it was just so many established black people that was just like on there doing their thing. And I remember looking around like, wow, so this is why people like Atlanta. Like I had no clue. I guess because I don't know why. I mean,
we were raised here.
Like,
why do people move here?
Yeah, I was like, what's the thing? Like, I always knew the party scene was lit, right?
Yeah.
Like the party scene.
It's beyond that.
Yeah, it's beyond the party scene. Like I always just thought of Atlanta as like party scene and good food. Like that's it. But baby, Atlanta is where it's at when it comes to like raising a family, cost of it used to be cost of living, now it's going up. But cost of living, opportunities. Like, honestly, and I started thinking about it, I was like, dang, because I didn't even experience racism until I moved to LA. I had never experienced racism in my life. Yeah. Me or my kids. And both of my kids experienced racism in LA. And I was just like, dang, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because, you do need to experience it so you'll know how to react. Right. So you're not like living in a bubble because Atlanta would make you feel like everybody is just like pro-black and everything is lit and everybody loves us, and it's like that's not the real world. Not at all. But yeah, I've really, really grown to love Atlanta and just be grateful for Atlanta. And yeah, I mean, I want my kids to move away because I do think you grow the most by leaving your comfort zone. So they have to leave. Like, they have to leave Atlanta. But if they choose to come back, cool or whatever. But yeah, I'm so grateful for the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, it's not until you leave or travel that you get more appreciation. because I am one of those people too. I see like, why are people moving to Atlanta?
Yeah.
And I think too, because it's not like we have like a beach.
Right.
Or I guess when you look at other big cities, it's not like we just have this amazing skyline. I still feel like Atlanta, it's like a little big city. It's still so,
it's
like
so small,
spaced out, but it's like together in the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the craziest thing. But anywho, once you travel to other cities, I'm like, wait, why are people moving here? But to your point, yeah, like here you can have a black doctor, a black dentist,
Yes.
you can have a black insurance broker, you can own a home, you can have your own business,
Yep.
you can walk in rooms and be that girl.
Yes.
And yeah, you live a little longer, you see it after you've been in other areas. I mean, it's just so much that's even about to happen with Atlanta. We aren't even at our peak.
Yeah.
Like so many companies are moving here. The tech scene has grown a lot. So yeah, anytime it's so funny every time like I'm on calls with clients, I'm always like, well, where are you guys located? And they always say somewhere lame, right? It'll be like Wisconsin, like they'll say the random stuff, Minnesota, and I'm like, oh well, I'm out of Atlanta, like super bold and proud. And yeah, and I always get the same reaction, like, oh, you live in Atlanta, like they just think it's so cool. And I'm like, shoot, I think it's cool too.
It is. It's definitely, and I understand why people are moving. I want them to stop. I really do want people to stop moving here, because the traffic is definitely giving LA now. Like, it don't matter what time of day you leave, you're gonna be in traffic. But I get it. I get why people move here outside of nightlife and the scammer life, because there was once a time where I feel like, you know, Atlanta it's like not a real place. Like people just come here and not work. But
I feel like that's still the case.
It may be, but I think we're a little. I'm on the other side of it now. I'm just not around. I used to be around those people, kind of in the mix of those people, and I knew, I'm like, this person does not work. But they be doing all the things. Now I think I'm on the other side. I'm in a space where everybody is everyone has like established businesses or jobs or whatever, and everyone's doing well for themselves. So I'm on the other side of it, thank God. Because it was kind of ghetto on the other side. But it was lit. It was a time.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one. Shout out to it, ATL. I still say shawty too.
I do too. I say shawty a lot.
And I crack up when I say it, because I hate when people say it and they can't say it right.
The other day. I don't know who
I'm like, nah, shawty, we don't do that.
I was so proud. So when I used to bring the kids in the summer, they used to go to summer camp here, and I used to put them in a hood summer camp, because I need my kids to have experience all cultures, all the energies of everything. So I put them in this hood summer camp. The summer camp was so good. And I would never forget, I picked up Deuce. He was probably maybe like 5. And he got in the car and he was like, "What's up, shawty?" And I was like, oh my God, I felt like a proud mom.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Like, yes, Atlanta culture, come through.
That's how I feel when Kenzie be knowing. This is so terrible. Like, Kenzie be knowing, like, the verses on the Motivation 101.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, she my
parent.
And she knows. Yeah, she knows some songs. She knows some Gucci songs and stuff and everything. So I'm like, yeah, it's my ATO baby. But
yeah.
All right. So the next one I put was process, change, and adjust, as in, so growing up, I went to a lot of schools. We moved a lot. I went to one elementary school, but I went to 4 different middle schools and 3 different high schools. I was always the new girl, and I hated it. Oh my gosh, I hated it. I hate being the new girl. I never had a solid friends, because we didn't stay long. And then back then, like, parents weren't just play dating like how we were. Like, unless you lived in the neighborhood, that was your friend. And then when you moved, you moved.
Right.
You know, and like we had cell phones where we can maintain the relationship or anything. And so I didn't do, honestly, a whole lot. Like, I wasn't an extracurricular activity girl or anything. Just because, like I say, we were always moving. Mm-hmm. And I grew up, and I was like, man, that sucks. And I remember my one goal in life was for stability. I was like, if I'm not going to be stable, I'm sorry, if I want stability not just for myself, but for my kids. Like, I want my kids to grow up in a neighborhood. I want my kids to have friends. And it to be like a real village. And so, as I've, I guess, been through, you still go through change, right? You can't stop it. And things happen. I can't say all of that change back then has helped me now. As in, I do still adjust well. I change jobs a lot, actually. But it also has helped progress my career. So I don't believe in sticking with anything for a long time if it's not advantageous for you. But I can also walk in rooms now where I can talk to anyone because I've just always had to do that. So it's helped me in that aspect too. And that now, I was thinking about this through the whole year, and that anytime something happens now, I'm not like, we were talking about this before, I'm not like, oh my gosh, like this is happening. Like, yeah, I'm not like, this is the pits, or like, I'm taking this thing and, you know, I'm sucking it up and I'm pushing through and I'm getting to it. And I can say to this day, that's helped me build the life that I want as well. Although my kids are stable, I just feel like, because stability helps, I guess, regardless.
It does.
But I still feel like change is inevitable. There we go. So I look back now and I think it has like fully shaped and molded me, you know, into the person, because I do think at this point I am successful. I've achieved what I wanted. And that's helped.
That is a great way to look at it. I never even thought about that. Probably because, I don't know. I've never even thought about it being like the way we are now, having to do with how we move. Because I came from the same background. We moved a lot too. We moved so much, and back then I just hated it so bad. And then finally, my mom was like, "Okay, I won't change your high school." I can't believe you changed high schools 3 times. I would have.
I know.
But I definitely went to 5 different elementary schools and I think 4 middle schools.
And it's easier then.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I can't believe you did that in high school. Luckily, my mom was like, you can stay at the high school. Even when we moved out the district, she just let me drive. But yeah, and to your point, like my main goal, it was 2 things once I had kids. I was like, I want them to be stable. We moved a lot when they were little, but I think now we have definitely leveled out, and they have had the same friends. Like Riley's been at the same. She went to elementary school, she's at the middle school, and she'll be at the high school, which I also think is really cool, because even when I drive by, there's like a sense of pride in this area. Like there's a community and everyone's just kind of like know each other. But I never really attributed. Well, maybe because I am not like you. Like you, to your point, you switch jobs often. Brittany would be like, I think I'm done here. I'm gonna go get another job, and she'll walk into a room and she'll speak to everybody. And I'm the opposite. Like I'm more, I don't want to walk into the room and speak to anybody actually, unless I know you. And if I don't, then I don't know. I'm just not that girl. I open up the more I get to know you. And then on this other side of that is when it comes to like work and stuff, I like to be a little more stable. So I don't know, but that is a good way that is probably why you are the way you are. Interesting.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out. That didn't happen to me though. It didn't. Okay. Well, I'll go behind that one and say one of the things that I am now grateful for that I once took for granted is my community and like my village of people around me. So I feel like when I was younger, I just always felt like, oh, people are trying to not be in my business, but like, especially when I had kids, right? So let's start there. When I had my kids, I just always felt like everyone was trying to tell me what to do. They just always wanted to be around. They just always wanted to, especially like my mother-in-law, like just really just tell me how to run my life. And so I I had to grow up and put my big girl panties on and be like, okay, look, this is my house. Like, this is what I want to do. These are my kids. And it used to drive me nuts. It was like, they used to always want to be around. Oh my God. They used to come over every single day, which they still do. But I think, so when I was younger, it used to just annoy me. Like, it annoyed me so much. I'm just like, why are people always around? Not my mom kind of be in her own world. She lit. She out here doing her own thing, and she drop in. But whenever I need her, she's a phone call away. But the in-laws, they would be around all the damn time. And it just took me so long. Like, I think it wasn't until maybe once we moved back to Atlanta, because even when we moved back to Atlanta, when I lived in LA, my mother-in-law came out there and stayed a while, which was helpful because we didn't know anybody. But then we moved back and we got a house that's kind of like in the center of everyone. And then they would be over here every single day, like every single day. And even still, my father-in-law would probably come over here every single day. My mother-in-law, not so much, but often, very often. Everybody just pull up. Nobody calls. Nobody does anything. They just pull up. They pull up. They walk in. Like, I can never walk around naked because somebody's coming. Somebody's coming through that door. It needs to drive me crazy. But now, I'll say in the past 2-3 years, mindset change. I've started to just kind of look at it differently and just be like, wow, like I literally have people around me. I can be, it doesn't matter what I need to do. I can, whatever emergency, or not emergency, but whatever, I need to hurry up and go do something. Everybody is one call away. Like they literally, or they're already at the house. Where I'm like, oh, I can't make it to take Riley to soccer. Or I can't do this. Or can you? And they're literally one text
so your
or call.
Ken Nugent.
Yeah. one call, that's all. Like everybody is here. Like I am so grateful for my village. I mean, my mom was one call away, my mother-in-law, and it doesn't matter the day, the time, they're here. My father-in-law, he literally comes over almost every single day, and he would like clean the pool, he's blowing leaves, he's taking the trash. It is the greatest feeling. Now I just feel like, oh hey, and usually, you know, everybody come by and they don't really bother. They do their own thing and they leave, or they speak to the kids or whatever, and then they just leave. And now it's just like, I am so grateful for all of them, and just like being, for my kids to be able to experience this and to have their grandparents around all the time is like such a blessing. Because I didn't live around my grandparents. We did visit in the summers. But just to have that relationship with them, and they're at like all the games, the kids' games and things, it's a beautiful thing. And I feel like now I'm mature enough to realize like this is kind of like what life is about. And it's also helpful for them as, you know, they get older. It's good to be around kids that keep you young. So that's fine.
That's a good one. Because I love family. And I like when families are like work together.
Yes.
I think it's a relationship that a lot of people take for granted because of trauma and stuff. But people just don't realize, like, at the end of the day, how much the older you get, you need your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like that. Shout out to Luther too for pulling up and
Shout out to Luther. He come clean
and never being too far away.
I know, he cleaned those cars. I know, he just bought his first home and it's like 10 minutes away. Like literally everybody. My mom is less than 10 minutes away. My mother-in-law is 10 minutes away. My father-in-law is 10 minutes away. Literally, and I can just call them whatever. It's amazing.
Yeah. I noticed that. You're like one of my few friends where like y'all close.
We're close
on both sides.
Yes.
It's normally like the mama side.
Oh yeah, no, we're all one big
like
happy family, and it's always been like that. Like we both sides literally just came together, and it's just a nice little village that I'm grateful for.
Okay, that's cool. Right on time. All right, so I have the power of no, because we hate hearing it. Oh, to this day, I hate hearing the word no as much as I get it. But yeah, so growing up, I used to hate no's because you want what you want. And I used to shut down a lot. Or I used to take it personal. And personal as in like there's something wrong with me.
Same.
Personal. And it put me in a shell for a while. I feel like throughout my life. Because I haven't been always as vocal as I am now. I've gotten to this point, but because I used to like, oh, if I say something, then I'm gonna hear, you know, something I don't like, or I'm gonna get a no, or I was never an ask for what you want kind of girl, or I kind of wait around, and you know, I look back now, maybe I would have progressed my life a lot sooner if I would have
very non-confrontational.
Very non-confrontational. And I'll get into my next one is on communication, but when you've heard no, it makes you not want to communicate, because at this point, that's just not what you want to hear. And even, I want to say after college, because I came out of college during a time where the economy was trash, and they say go to college, and you know, you can get this job, and you can make this money, and that's not what happened. And I want to say from the time I left college, even up until this year, I've gotten more no's than ever. Just in my career, I do well, but I've still gotten a lot of no's in that process, in that I'll get no's with no explanation sometimes, and that can be even more frustrating. But I said to say, like, to wrap it up, no is, I just had to reshape how I thought about it, and it's just a not right now. Because the reflection part of the no's, I've realized is it just wasn't for me, or there was a reason why I got that no, or that no opened the door for something else for me. So it's not like I got no's and I just live a shitty life.
Right.
Because that's how
not right now.
Yeah. So now when I hear no, that's my mindset now. It's like, oh, not right now. Or this wasn't it. Or something.
This wasn't for me.
This wasn't for me. Or something better is coming. And I'm now teaching my daughter that, because she hates the word no, my teenager, Kenzie. But she... Ooh, every time she get a no, she just, her whole face is red. She just, man, what?
I tell my kids no so much that I think they're used to it.
And I don't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make me...
Riley takes no's really well.
That is so good.
She just brush it off.
That's good, because Kenzie, she need to talk to Kenzie about it. And she's like, even her daddy, he was like, you always say no. Okay.
Yeah. And I do.
And you're gonna. The crazy thing is, you're gonna get more no's outside of me once you leave this house. So I'm not setting you up for the world.
Facts.
But yeah. And I think the best thing about no is, we talked about this in the last episode. I think when you get to a point where it's a no for boundaries, because we don't like when somebody says no to us, but we don't mind saying no to somebody else. And yeah, it's a two-way street. I mean, kids' first words now be no. They say no before they say mommy, but daddy.
Or dada.
Yeah, so it's like, it just has to happen. It's a part of life. So embracing the power of no, I'm thankful for, because, whew, cold world.
It's definitely a cold world.
Cold
you
world.
Can't take a no, then baby, you are in for a rude awakening or hard life. That's a good one. You definitely went deep on yours.
Sorry, y'all.
Sorry, good. I'm trying to think. Do I want to stay deep, or do I want to lighten it?
You be the light heart. I be the
I have one deep. Okay.
I had to take it back to old Brittany. In them old podcasts, I used to be getting deep. I felt like I haven't gotten deep yet. So now y'all getting a little taste of my life.
Yeah.
I said I was going to be Mary J. Blige on y'all today.
You did. Okay, lighthearted one. One thing I took for granted that I no longer do, well, actually I'm grateful for, is quality clothes and shoes. Which, I mean, I feel like when I was younger, like my husband used to buy me all these things, and to me, I liked them, but I didn't appreciate. Well, I didn't appreciate the quality back then. Like I've always been the type of girl that could take anything and make it look nice. It doesn't matter the cost. It doesn't matter like the name or anything. Like I've just always been that girl. Like I like to dress. I like to do all the things, and I could shop anywhere. I could shop at a thrift store. I could shop at Goodwill. So when I met my husband and he started buying me all this stuff, I didn't appreciate it. I mean, I've lost so much stuff, given away stuff. I've like sold stuff. I'm just like, I don't really need this anymore. And now as I've gotten older and I'm like really starting to define my style and just kind of like how I want to look on a day-to-day basis, one, I be looking for some of that stuff. Like, dang, I wish I still had this.
It.
Two, the stuff that I do have that's like quality, I'm like, it's such a classic, and it's lasting through the years. And I'm finding myself that any like trendy, quick stuff that I'm used to just like get, just to, you know, you have your little trendy moments or whatever. That stuff don't last. Either it's ripping or something, I have to throw it away, give it away. And so I'm just really starting in this space that I am now is to just kind of go for quality over quantity. Just buying things that will last, and it may cost a little more, but I think it's so worth it. Things that I can interchange and wear different ways. Yeah. Whereas I think I was a little more not trendy. I just knew that I could shop anywhere and make anything work, so I would just do that. Like it doesn't matter. And now I'm just a little more specific on what I do, what I purchase, and I like the way my closet's coming together or whatever. I feel like I actually have more to wear and I have less. I have less clothes now than I did, clothes and shoes, than I did when I was buying like all the things. And I feel like I have more to wear and better clothes to wear now than I did then. So.
Okay. I'm trying to see, like, from that aspect, I guess I never really even thought about that as far as just like, I know I've always been I like to look nice kind of girl.
Same.
But quality, I feel like I didn't get a hold of until later in life versus earlier.
I had little things like my mom, like in middle school and high school, my mom would buy us like Tommy Hill. I was a Tommy Hilfiger girl. And I used to wear like the cardigans, like Tommy Hilfiger cardigans and the polo cardigans. And so I always had like little things, but outside of that, I would just get other stuff to support that. Now I'm like, okay, obviously I'm way older. I make my own money and all those things, so I can kind of curate my own style how I want to. I'm just like, oh, instead of getting this, I'm gonna go to J. Crew and get like a nice cardigan, or instead of just randomly buying stuff off of Shein, which I still will.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I always feel like you were a good balance. Like you know,
yeah, and I still
if you like it, you like it. Yes, and you're gonna make some shake out of it.
Agreed. So I don't shop as much anymore, but when I'm like getting rowdy a Shein cart or something, I'll go through it. I might add some stuff in, and so I think I have it in me to do like a good mix of things. But now when I'm shopping, it's just very more specific on like I try to buy quality. If I'm just randomly I do randomly get stuff, but for the most part, I don't do that as often anyway because the way my check-ins and savings set up. No, I'm just kidding. But I really just, I don't know. I'm trying to get away from just impulse buying. I guess that's what I'm saying. Impulse buying, and that's when I'm usually going for trendy stuff. And I really want to just be very specific on like what I'm buying, what I'm spending my money on, and making sure that it fits what I want to look like, who I want to look like, who I want to be, and I buy it. So
yeah. Well, I would have to say, yes, I'm grateful for the fact that I can't say I've always had style for the most part, because some people
shout out to my mom. I feel like I got my style from my mom.
I don't know where I got mine from, but I'm just grateful I have it, because sometimes some people just never get it. Like they just don't get it.
I know, but I am happy for those people that now they have access to, I guess, like social media and Pinterest, where now even if they didn't have it, I feel like they can now curate it, and then in different ways. There's so many people showing you different ways you can pull inspo and just kind of create a look. Whereas back in the day, if you didn't have it, you just didn't have it.
You just don't have it. Yeah, and I like being a parent. Like it's like you still have it, because some people just lose it.
True.
Or they just never had it.
Facts.
And it's hard to maintain it, I will say, because to your point, you got to kind of keep keep up with what's, and then the quality as you get a little older, and it's kind of like knowing,
and then as you get older, you don't want to look like a young kid, so you gotta like try to start.
It's a balance, like
especially now, because I feel like it's such an overlap in like what the kids are wearing and the adults are wearing. It's like, why are we dressing the same? Like, how do I separate myself?
Because the kids are all up in Zara now.
They're all in Zara.
That's why supposed to be our thing.
Why they don't shop at Zara?
My daughter loves Zara.
Riley is not a Riley is an ASOS. Shein,
but even ASOS used to be like,
but you're right. We don't shop there no more.
No, I don't. But I just know that like a lot of people in their 30s still do, you know what I'm saying, shopping ASOS. But now the young kids are versus back when we was growing up. It was there definitely a line. Like you weren't in the same places.
Right. I feel like our parents were wearing like Express and my mom called it Learners, but it's like New York and Company.
Loft.
And then we were in Rainbow and Macy's,
Charlotte Russe,
and
Route 21,
Wet Seal, and all of those
places.
Which honestly, that's what Shein and all of that is.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
replaced it.
Yeah, it's just online to me. So.
That's funny. I forgot all about Wet Seal.
Yeah, and I always tell Riley, I'm like, girl, you know you need real clothes. So she'll shop at like Abercrombie. Oh my God, now she's a Lululemon.
Yeah, like that's another one. Like I'm in Abercrombie and kids are in Abercrombie, but I still like know the line between that's too teeny boppy versus I can make this.
You old as hell for saying teeny boppy.
Okay. Tweeny, I'm so sorry. Them young kids. Them kids. All right, well my last one is, I was thinking I've come a long way with communication. So yes, till this day, I am a yapper. And not only am I a yapper, I was just thinking the other day, I am so expressive. Like I don't mind telling somebody how I feel about something. Now I don't even care how it's going to, I don't want to say how it makes you feel, but I don't care in the fact that like, I'm not about to hold it in because I'm worried about how you may feel or take it. Now, because I think a lot of people like hold their feelings in because they're like, oh, this person's gonna, and I actually think it's healthy to get it out. So I have come to fully appreciate communication in all areas, whether it's expressing yourself, whether it's being assertive, because I don't think it's healthy to be passive, whether it's having uncomfortable conversations, and we can't get away from them no matter how many uncomfortable conversations you have. They do not stop. Sometimes they all hit at once. I notice, like, dang, I just had to talk to this person about this. Talking to the kids, allowing them to express themselves, and then coming back and being able to, now say how I feel, because we grew up where you just couldn't even really express yourself. And growing up, I didn't talk really at all. But my mother was a talker. Like even now to this day, my mom still talks. My brother is a talker. My sister is now finally getting on board.
That would be me.
In her mid-30s. Well, she almost in her mid-30s. But she's now getting on board. And it's funny because she was worse than me. But yeah, I didn't talk a lot growing up, and I kept things in. And not only did I keep things in, I wasn't even like a diary person, or of course there was no therapy where I talked to anyone else. I just used to hold it in. And even I want to say when I got in my 20s and I started dating seriously, like I still would hold it in. I thought I was just being a real nigga. And that's just how it went. I'm like, well, if I say something to him and he gonna feel, or I feel like if I didn't want to come off too sensitive, because once you show your sensitive or emotional side and people take advantage of you, that's another thing. Now I say what I say. I say it because I need to say it. I just think it's healthy to say it, and not in a way where I think things are going to work out in my favor if I say it, because I think people think that too. Well, if I finally talk about it, I'm going to get the outcome that I want, and half the time that's not the case. But I just think we need to be in a world more where people should be able to express themselves no matter what, especially if it's a relationship that you want to maintain, platonic or romantic. I think that people should just be able to communicate now more than ever because of technology. because we text and we're on social media and stuff, so you just need to be able to talk to each other as much because things can get misinterpreted that way. And I think it's just healthy from a career standpoint because you will be in rooms where you have to communicate, just period. And that's just life. And last thought, that we are the only creatures that God made that communicate. And I don't know if people really think about that, but when you think about everything else that God created, they don't really communicate, or they run on a cycle. Like plants run on a cycle, animals run on a cycle. They communicate based on the cycle that they run on. And we as humans, he designed us to communicate. So it's something I think that we all just take for granted, and that we can express ourselves. We have the power of free will, that a lot of other things don't have. So
yeah, same. I grew up the same. I don't think I started communicating or starting to communicate until I had kids, which my mom told me that was going to happen. She was like, once you have your kid, you're going to start saying stuff. And she was so right, because baby, once Riley came, and again, back to them in-laws being around and doing stuff that you don't want them to do. And at first I was just trying to be nice, like, oh, okay, or I would say something in a nice way, and then they would still like not take into the kind of, I just told them something and they do their own thing. It only happened maybe once or twice, and then the mama bear woke up and was just like, oh, hell no, like this is not gonna work. And then from then on, I just feel like it just kind of grew and grew and into other aspects of my life. And I feel like now I'm just starting to get to a space where I communicate well with my husband, because he's like an over communicator, and I'm not. I like to just say what I'm gonna say, and I just want to be done with it. I don't
That's most people.
No, it's not. It's not my husband. Like, he likes to really talk about stuff. Like, he wants for a very long time. And that drives me crazy. I'm like, I just wanted to get my point across. You get your point across.
And then we move forward.
Yeah. No. It has to be like, oh my God, I'm still working on it, because that sometimes does keep me from communicating with him, because I'd be like,
you already know you gotta.
I don't want to hear this shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, So, but we are definitely in a way better space than we used to be years ago, and I'm the same way now. Like, it doesn't matter what work, clients. I just say what I gotta say, and we're just gonna move forward, and hopefully you take what I had to say, and I don't mind people communicating how they feel to me, which I think before, to your point, I used to feel like I used to take it personally. Like how we were saying, taking those personally, but I used to take whatever they were saying like super personal. And then I swear it was like the 4 agreements of don't take things personally. I was just like, oh, like most of the time stuff don't even really be necessarily about me. Like just because they have that boundary or whatever, that doesn't mean that they have that boundary because of me. That's just a boundary that they have for themselves. So yeah, I'm grateful for the growth that I've had with communication, because baby, I used to just bottle everything up growing up. Which my kids are not like that, thank God. All right, so I think I have the last one, and I used to take for granted God's grace. I feel like, first of all, I didn't even realize what God's grace was. I think that's more so what it was. It's like, when you're young, you just
tell us what
you
God's
just
grace
out
is
here
when you get a
living. You just out here living life, right? You just doing things it's sinful or whatever, and you kind of feel like, well, you either can repent and move on, or nothing, or just do nothing, just you're living life, right? And back then, I didn't realize that, me coming out on the other side of those things, or me just being able to still thrived in certain spaces, even though I was living a life that was unaligned with God's will, was God showing me grace, right? Because really, what he could have done was allow a lot of the decisions that I made back then, a lot of things that I was doing to take me out the game. To define me, take me out the game. Like, literally could have been like, you know what, you're done. You're done here. But he didn't. And now when I look at, now that I know what God's grace is, and I'm just as a almost 40-year-old woman, I'm like, wow. So even like the way I move now, I think about it often, because I'm like, I guess I just know if it's not right, then why am I doing it, right? Why am I, if I know that it's not God's will, why am I doing it? And if I decide to do it, I'm basically choosing, I have to get my words right, I'm choosing to not appreciate God's grace. Basically saying, I'm taking him for granted. I'm basically saying, you know what, even though I know this is not right, I'm going to do it anyway, because I know that I have God's grace. I know he's going to forgive me. I know that I'm going to be good. I don't know, at this age, I know what God's grace is, which you asked me to explain what that is, and that is basically God showing us kindness and still being here no matter what we're doing, whatever, no matter what our successes are or our failures or, you know, our fleets. So he's always still kind. He's always showing us, going to give us love, and he's always going to be here for us regardless, right? And I think because I honestly didn't even know what that was back in my younger days. And you're just out here and you're just living life, right? Yeah. And now as an adult, or now as a more mature adult, I'm like, okay, that was God's grace. Like all this time, like all throughout all the years of me wilding out, because I was low-key kind of wilding in my 20s. That was God showing me grace, and so I'm just so grateful. I am so grateful for that, for him, for that. And now I don't take it for granted at all. I live my life according to his will, because I just don't want to take his grace for granted. So that was my last one.
That was beautiful.
I almost
wanted to cry.
This is a long episode.
Yeah, it was.
Not you almost wanted to cry.
I do almost want to cry. I love God's grace, and thank you for letting people know what it is, because I don't think everyone knows what it is. They probably hear about it, but it doesn't mean you know it. But anywho, that was a great way to wrap it up. And yes, this was a long episode, but we really appreciate you all sticking with us and hearing us out. I feel like it was also a very vulnerable episode as well. And it takes a lot for us to like share these type of things. I know for me at least, I am so private, but it's something I'm working on. I would like to be more open. It's normally just with like super close people to me. However, I do know stories like this and experiences do help people as well. So I hope you guys appreciate it and take the time to reflect and think about some things as well through the week. If you want to share or any part you liked, please.
And I am so grateful for you guys.
Oh yeah.
For sticking with us, ups and downs, especially the ones that's been here for the 2018 and whenever we started. We do not take you guys for granted at all. Never have, never will. I'm just grateful for you guys. I hope you all have an amazing week with family, friends. I hope you relax and eat and don't worry about the gym or anything, because I'm definitely going to enjoy my time, my weekend. I'm going to enjoy the food without feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to gain 5 pounds. It's okay. But have a good week. We'll be back hopefully next week. We'll see.
Cheers to time off. Bye.
Bye.